Who was right, Daily Wire or Steven Crowder? Hey, this is Tom of Tom Talk Show, and there are just so many infighting things going on. I saw a thing today. Sydney Watson is suing the Blaze and other things. Just I think it goes down to the fact that in the end we're all you know horrible humans. I guess is the thing, right? I mean, in the end, we all become very selfish and very much about ourselves and protective and all of that. But if there's any wrongdoing, I would fully hope that you know people come forward, admit it, and be able to move on, and perform some apology, restitution, whatever needs to be done. And if that happens to be in a court of law, then so be it, right? But the whole Steven Crowder thing. I mean, I've watched all of his responses, the times when he was on Tim Pool and his other videos talking about things. And the crazy thing was that, you can let people, he said that certain things were going on, certain contracts had certain stipulations and other things in them that made it very, almost impossible to be able to do create a partnership of any kind. And you can say, yeah, it was a starting point, blah, blah, whatever. But I think kind of what happened after that kind of proves Steven Crowder's side to it. I think the worst, because you have Jeremy Boring going on and going blah, blah. I got rid of my Harry's razor. I did not buy a Jeremy's razor. And I'm actually pretty glad that I didn't. Because of he seemed to be fairly arrogant, fairly like, well, seems very, this is just a simple contract. It was a starting point, being very kind of over the top arrogant about it, fine. But if you see, the things in the contract are laid out in such a way that if you don't toe the line, if you don't, if you don't give in to what they're saying, if you don't, fall within the parameters of the media outlets that you're going through, whether it be Rumble or YouTube or the like, that you get penalized, right? Well, that's not saying what you need to say, right? If you need to be able to say something, you need to be able to comment about something, forever. I mean, they knew right from the start that Steven Crowder's not been monetized on YouTube forever. So that's already a deduction. That's already boom, something not, you're not going to be getting that revenue from the start. So it was kind of like, well, if you were boilerplate and you did your due diligence and looked over this, you would know automatically that they're not monetized on YouTube, and they're never going to be monetized on YouTube for that matter. But, all the Daily Wire shows and everything else are, because they told the line. They only go up near the line and they don't ever peek over, right? They don't ever do anything. They have to toe the line. They have to follow the company mantra. And that was even more pronounced right after this all happened, because what happened shortly after the whole thing? Let's see. Every single person on the Daily Wire had to come out with, I think this is, here's a 12-minute video from Ben Shapiro. Here's video after video after video, appearance after appearance with Candace Owens. And from just watching her and seeing Candace Owens on different things, she did almost 40 minutes. This one video, 40 minutes. This video, that is just, I don't see, I didn't see any time before that where like Crowder had been, in big, long, multiple videos or common appearances or anything with Steven Crowder. I think she probably barely knew Steven Crowder. I don't know that for sure, but just from, the online, videos that I've tried to find, it's like, do you really even know the guy? Have you ever been around him? You've had a 3-minute conversation with him, and now you're making 40-minute videos about him and the whole situation. And that's right there is just proving Steven's point, right? Everyone, Andrew Klavan made one. Michael Knowles made videos. Everybody in the whole entire, I think even, who's the one young girl that they have on? I think she even made one, right? All of them. Brett, or whatever her name is. She, I think, even made one. Because they had to toe the company line, right? You had to fall into line and do what the company says. I didn't see anyone coming forward and saying, I don't know him that well. I don't know that situation that well, so I'm not going to comment. How refreshing would that have been, right? But that would have probably gotten you, reprimanded by, the powers that be over the Daily Wire. So it just seems like, that is just again, I think the match was never going to really be made because Crowder is, he's his own man, right? He is going to say what he wants to say. He doesn't care about monetization. He never really even cared about, is YouTube going to drop him off? Is, whatever. They try and do that. That's why they have their lawyer always going after him and stuff. They ride that line and they go over that line whenever they want, without any reservation. If they want to tell the truth, they want to say the truth, they want to do something, that might be edgy or, in your face a little bit, but true and honest, then they were going to do it. The Daily Wire, they're arrogant and they toe the line. They make everybody in the office toe the line. It just seems like if you want, I probably even on Twitter, everybody's Twitter accounts is probably monitored. I can see as it a big, a big monitoring system that just monitors everybody at the Daily Wire to make sure that they don't say anything that's going to harm the brand or harm their business model or anything else. So now the Daily Wire is no better than CNN, right? It's the same. They can say, oh, we fought for your, right to not get the jab. I'm like, okay, well, CNN's going to fight for somebody else's right to do something else that they believe in, right? So it just may not be a value that you have. So, but everybody there, had to toe the line, right, to what the company is. Maybe there was someone there that said, no, I think everybody should do that. They may not have had a job the next day, right? So, and just seems very, like I said, very arrogant and authoritarian kind of environment, seemingly. That office, even the picture of the people behind him in that office, they're all just kind of packed in there. It's like there's people like just sitting everywhere and there's no real cubicles. It's just like, just throw everybody in there. It's going to be a fun, comfortable atmosphere where it's like, well, that's good because you're going to be here for, the next 12 hours. That's your work day, kind of thing. But, I don't know that for a fact or anything. Just seemingly from, how they've spoken about this, it's very, very authoritarian, which is something that they're supposedly fighting against, so I don't know. What do you think? I know this has been kind of hashed out a little bit, but I've been away from the microphone for a couple of weeks. But I just think it all proves Crowder correct. You could say that he was being a baby or whatever, but the response, you can say, well, they were trying to put on a united front. Well, why? It wasn't like a battle. It wasn't like, they were the one that exposed themselves, that they were the ones with the contract. It wasn't Crowder. He was just trying to say, these contracts for small creators, you go up and you give, so say somebody decides, to give me, say $3,000 a month to do a show, and I got to produce so many shows, per week. And if any of those things, are wrong if I don't do what they tell me. I mean, maybe they give you, $10,000 a month. Well, that gets to be a huge amount of money for, a small creator. And so they see that and they don't pay attention to the contract. And then they go, sure. And then suddenly they miss a couple of videos, and then boom, that $10,000 goes down to 8. And then, a couple of videos get demonetized, and then it goes down to 7. Right? And then suddenly they're making less money, than before. So, it's very disingenuous for, trying to do that and to not be above board. I mean, I would think to me, a better thing would be do a base amount of money, and then for every advertisement that you do, you get more. For all the videos that you produce, you get a little bit more. Do it that way instead of doing a deduction from the base, from the pay, the salary, the money offered. Instead of doing deductions, start at a base and then add for all the things that you accomplish. So much better of a message, so much more, reward being given for effort. Just would be a completely different way of doing business. And I think that's what Stephen was trying to say. That's what he was trying to get across to them. But I don't think they have that mindset at all. So, anyway, what do you think? Did they do good? Did they do bad? Do you believe Stephen? Are you a Daily Wire person? Or you just not care? You're still listening to both. We can't listen to Steven Crowder right now because he's not, anywhere right now. Hopefully he will be back on soon. So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think.